Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming, Sunny Mountsword of the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you to the Let's Play episode of NeveN, A Ket's Path. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. Alrighty. Oh no, he's trying to provoke Maelbjorn. And from the look on the prince's face, it seems to be working. As these thoughts cross my mind, laughter echoes in the stands, but this is quickly stifled as the bear rises. What a good idea. Maelbjorn? No, Lord Brios is right. No king worth his salt avoids combat, right? The sheep's snide look disappears to give way to what appears to be surprise. We should face each other, you and I. I'm sure the people will love it. Aeon speaks in a low voice so the rest of the tribune can't hear him, but his worried look makes his feelings obvious. Don't do that. Your pride gets the better of your mind. I know what I'm doing. It's time I set my own path, father. He then steps forward, leaving no chance for the kings to stop him, lest they undermine their own power under the gaze of all onlookers. As for me, I can only watch him pass by, unsure of what to say. Who am I to interfere, after all? I'm not the one who's going to rule an entire country. Brios also walks down under the watchful eye of his family while maintaining an air of pride. I wonder if Maelbjorn is really in danger. Will they really fight to the death over a simple quarrel? Once the two opponents are face to face, each gets into fighting stance. It doesn't look like they plan to use a shield, and the prince hasn't even put on his helmet. The priestess of Tessel uses her brand when the prince starts to speak so that all can hear him. When the blood flows, I want you to be able to look me in the eye. Let all be witness that I am not afraid to suffer if that's what the people of Frostfang desire. This explains the absence of a helmet. Theatrical, but dangerous. From what little I know about the prince, it's kind of surprising. He doesn't strike me as the type to take that kind of risk. Maybe I misjudged him. Without waiting any longer, the prince steps forward, slowly, without even taking his axe in hand. Brios, on the other hand, simply draws his weapon without moving. Come on, I know you're burning to get it off your chest, Brios. Come at me! Come at me! The bear's anger grows, but he maintains a steady pace as he continues to provoke the Lord of Kurmar. So far, there's been a lot of talk on your part, but little action. Are you afraid you might hurt your future king? I can see the sheep's brand glowing on his thigh, under his clothes, as he looks up at the kings as if he has to ask their permission to defend himself. But they seem too focused on their adopted son to see anything but Maelbjorn. I won't hesitate to kill you, so give me a fight! With his free hand, Brios summons a pillar of rock that emerges from the ground, hurtling straight towards the bear's flank. The attack is precise enough to penetrate between the gap of the princely armor, but Maelbjorn intercepts it with his bare hands. Blood is dripping on the ground. It's obvious that the attack was successful despite his attempt to stop it. The prince's grunt of pain is carried by the brand of air that accompanies him, and I can see Aeon and Lusk rising to their feet at the same moment as silence falls over the crowd. But just as the kings are about to intervene, Maelbjorn shatters the rock before he straightens up and continues on his way. In his wake, the sand is stained with blood as he loosens the strap of his axe to draw it. Do you think I need a brand to defeat you? You'll have to do better than that. Okay. For a moment, Brios doesn't seem to know what to do as the prince approaches him, so he stands his ground, his axe in front of him. I don't know if it's out of fear because he's concentrating, but unlike Maelbjorn, no words come out of the sheep's mouth. He then grabs the edge of his own weapon and slides it against his palm before raising it into the air to show the blood flowing from it. The first blood is spilled. I admit defeat. This choice is not yours to make. It's up to me to spill your blood. I must confess, I'm confused as to what's going on in the arena, and the look I'm sending Rowan is obviously enough to make him intervene. The rule of a fight is that you're only allowed to surrender when the blood has been shed, but Maelbjorn is technically right. Brios can't injure himself to surrender. Why does he do it then? He must know the rules, I suppose. It's a desperate act, nothing more. As I turn my attention back to the fight, the prince strikes the nobleman's axe with his own, sending it with ease into the sand a little further away. And finally, he strikes the pommel of the weapon into Brios' jaw, sending him sprawling to the ground. Well, that was easy. The bear raises his axe, sweeping his eyes over the audience with an air full of pride, and his voice thunders throughout the arena. My fathers were tolerant of the old nobility. They forgave them for the horrors inflicted on the people during their reign. They gave them their power back in return for their promise to rule justly. But the Lord of Kurmar has broken that promise. He inflicted heinous abuses on his people. What he has done would scandalize even Macadian slavers. Silence falls again on the assembly. Many Frostians know how serious this accusation is. Brios, meanwhile, is still lying at his feet, but he turns to face Maelbjorn. Even he seems shocked by what the prince is saying. As the future king of Frostfang, I think it's time to put an end to this tolerance. I will be the arm of justice, and I will strike down those who oppose our freedom, whether they come from Akkad, Khazal, or even our own lands. Therefore, I hereby pronounce your sentence. Brius Nedelik, Lord of Kurmar, only death shall cleanse your honor. In a final gesture of desperation, the sheep tries to raise his arms to protect himself. Before he has time, Maelbjorn brings his axe down on his throat and finishes him off. Fortunately, I have time to look away before I see anything. To be honest, I didn't expect the prince to get this far, and I don't think I'm the only one surprised. The bear raises his head and looks towards the stands again. This time, however, he's particularly observant of the empty seats where the nobles sat before his speech. I hadn't even noticed that they'd left. I guess I soon realized how it was all going to end. After this long, icy silence, shouts of joy rise again to acclaim the justice applied by Maelbjorn, or at least what he believes to be justice. Thank you, brothers and sisters. I'll do my best to lead you against the enemy, against Akkad. But unfortunately, I'm not alone. Now, among our ranks, we have someone with formidable powers that will help us in the conflicts to come. Let's hear it for Elowy of Skarna. And as all eyes turn to me, I can't help but curl up and smile awkwardly. Yeah, I did not expect him to just fucking kill someone. Damn. At this moment, I definitely feel like a weapon. Finally, Maelbjorn leaves for the backstage arena, probably to be healed. The kings stand up, and I can't even begin to imagine how much they're worried about him, but also probably how much they're going to lecture him. Rowan is accompanying them, and I'm waiting for this whole group to move off a bit before I start following them. After all, I'd also like to know the condition of the prince. The interior is full of Morani priests who are too busy nursing wounded warriors to really pay attention to my presence. And finally, I spot the snow leopard guarding a door. Looks like this time I won't be able to sneak in to do my snooping, but I can at least try to get some information. So, how's it going in there? Rowan shrugs with a grimace. Not very well. They didn't appreciate his little show. I can imagine. Just as I'm about to ask more questions, the door opens violently, and I have to shift quickly so the kings don't bump into me. As Aeon catches sight of me, he gives me a surprised look, and I have time to see blood dripping from his lips. Obviously, he catches my glance and wipes his face with his forearm before addressing me. My son is confused. Now it's a good idea for you to visit him. I have some scores to settle with him. Do you intend to let me talk to him? I don't see any reason to stop you. Maybe it'll do him good to have someone from the outside trying to talk some sense into him. Lusk, on the other hand, gives me a disapproving look, but he shifts at the same time as his husband to let me through, which I do without further ado. The door closes behind me as I face the prince, who is comfortably seated. His wound has since healed, but he doesn't seem to be doing too badly, even if he doesn't display his usual cheerful air. He's even rather surprised to see me here. I assume you're not here to congratulate me on my victory. Oh, one second, y'all. Let me plug my headset in so it doesn't lose its charge later tonight. And I'll be at my parents' place. Okay. I have a lot to say about what you've just done, actually. Try as I might to show maximum control, my voice trembles as I pull up a chair to sit opposite of Maelbjorn. You're not the first, and probably not the last, to blame me, but I don't intend to run away from the consequences of my choice. It's also my role as a future king to listen to the complaints of the court. I'm not here as a royal bard, but as a friend. Well, sure, I'm neither your father's nor an expert when it comes to running a kingdom, but what I do know well is people. The prince listens to me attentively, although he seems jaded about getting another lecture. I have a question. Why? Why did you have to make such a big deal out of this? It's complicated. I didn't come here for that kind of answer. You don't need to know more. I carry my own responsibilities, that's all. A king who burdens his conscience on the shoulders of others is not a good king. And who are you apart from your responsibilities? Don't forget yourself for what you think is the good of your kingdom, Maelbjorn. The prince doesn't know what to say at the moment, so I rub my eyes and sigh, fumbling in my mind to find the right words. I don't know if you're feeling anger, if it was a desire for revenge, but there are more important things than that. There you go. I know. I understand your disappointment considering the impression you had of me. Unfortunately, someone has to play that role. I have to become what the kingdom needs to see in me, and right now, they want a warlord. So you were just playing a role? Partially, yes. Upon seeing my confusion, the bear leans forward to better look me in the eye. Tell me, when you were out there before you came to the capital, did you make any decisions that made you feel ashamed? Maybe I did. So what? In that case, you should be able to understand me. What I did for my survival, not for any good greater than my own. then I want you to imagine that each of my choices represents the death or survival of thousands of other lives, and that I make them in full awareness of these repercussions. Brius is the first to die from the choice I've just made, but he won't be the last, which also means that Anthracans, and not necessarily bad ones, will die in the future because I made this choice. I hated every moment of what I did in that arena. Not that Brius didn't deserve it, far from it. He was a true criminal. But I took no pleasure in carrying out his sentence, because deep down, I know what all this can lead to. I know another civil war is on the horizon. Even though I can see that the prince is doing everything in his power to control himself, it's clear that emotion is clouding his judgment, and it's all the more visible when I hear his voice gradually breaking. What Brius inflicted on his subjects and our people is on my conscience. His death was my responsibility. I'll never be king if unable to make just such decisions. And I'd be a hypocrite to promise you that it will be worth it in the long run, but I deeply believe it was necessary, despite all the consequences that may follow. Looks like Maelbjorn is almost pleading me, as if hoping that at least one person could fully understand what he'd done. But I'm not sure if I can. Not yet, anyway. I can hardly say I understand your point of view. I imagine you'd have to be born with the idea of one day obtaining power to analyze things that way. But what I can't understand is that you suffer from this decision. You went against your own nature to meet the needs of your people. Why not lead by example by showing them another way rather than becoming what they expect you to become? This time the bear loses his gaze in the void as he takes the time to reflect. I'm not sure I have the strength to change Frostfang. Years, no, centuries of war have shaped us this way. I don't think I have the legitimacy, or if I am exceptional enough to do anything about it. I must admit it touches me deeply to see that even a prince can doubt his abilities. I can at least understand that, as an artist. Somehow I still prefer him to be doubtful rather than totally confident in everything he does. It means he leaves the door open to questioning. You know, the fact you told them my powers would be used during the kingdom's conflicts, You took it badly. Of course I did. I'm angry. But you must have known all this would happen one day. It's my turn to lower my eyes, and I gulp before answering. Yeah, I suspected it, yes. From the moment you received that brand, you became a symbol. Neither you nor I can do anything about it. The gods chose our path for us. I have my own idea of the fate that awaits me, but it doesn't match up with what the gods have in mind, if indeed they want me to become a weapon. I have come to terms with the idea that I'll serve the kingdom, but I don't want to be a symbol of death and pain. I raise my gaze and challenge the princess, who doesn't seem any more intimidated than that. All I ever wanted as an artist was to bring a little joy and hope, and my brand won't change that fact. I respect your fighting spirit, Eloise, and I won't stand in the way of this path you want to follow. It would be against my principles. I don't think I need grand speeches to convince you anyway. The enemy will show its true colors sooner or later, and then you'll understand my choices. While I'm relieved that Maelbjorn isn't more hostile to me than that, I must admit I'm surprised that he's not trying to change my mind. And it must show on my face, since he finally manages to smile at me as he straightens up. I don't blame you. Believe me when I say that no one will hate my choices more than myself. It's not very reassuring to hear that, and somehow I get the impression that Maelbjorn needs reassurance. You know, even if I don't approve of your way of doing things, that doesn't stop me from being there for you. If you want to discuss things. That's nice of you, but I don't know if you and I will ever understand each other. Even Lusk and Aeon don't really understand what I'm trying to do. I thought I caught that, yes. Did you fight? The prince's eyes widen as he looks at me, as if I'd said the most tremendous nonsense. Alright, y'all, I'm going to pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm going to give a quick shout out to our lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank you all for what I do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to our silver tier patron, Cade Silverman. Thank you for going a bit above and beyond. It's greatly appreciated. Anyway, if y'all want to get your names in the credits, get access to all of our not safe for more content as little as $5. Alrighty, I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!